We are the children of an era wherein trying to be everywhere at once, we end up being nowhere at all. Every new morning we open our eyes, we wake up to the starting line of an invisible race. Bodies rushing through the streets, endless streams of images scrolling across screens, lives consumed in mere seconds. We can feel the world accelerating, but the strange thing is, we no longer control this speed. It controls us. There was a time when speed was humanity's victory over nature, when we leaped from the backs of horses to the bodies of trains, and from there to the wings of airplanes. We thought we had conquered distances. To go faster meant to be freer. To cross mountains, to traverse oceans, to reach the unknown much quicker. But today, the celebration of that victory is over. The destination we have reached is not that horizon of freedom we once dreamed of. We have fallen into a strange void where that horizon has long been surpassed, the skyline erased, leaving behind nothing but an endless momentum. Let's stop and think for a moment. What do the most advanced devices in our lives, the brightest screens, and those flawless machines promise us? To save time, right? To send a message instantly, to have a meal delivered to our door in 10 minutes, to learn about a disaster on the other side of the world in a matter of seconds. But where is all that time, those tons of saved hours that these massive technological tools supposedly gave us? Why are we in more of a hurry than ever before? Why do we live with that familiar, suffocating tightness in our chests, constantly feeling like we are late, like we are missing out on something? Because speed didn't save us time. Speed hollowed out time. We sit motionless for hours, days, years in front of our screens. Our bodies are living through the most motionless, passive, and paralyzed era in our evolutionary history. Sunken into our soft chairs, we believe we are conquering the world just by moving our thumbs. Yet our minds are being violently tossed around on an endless data highway at thousands of miles per hour. The body is still, but the mind is drowning inside a colossal vortex. This is the most perfect paradox in history. We are the fastest humans the world has ever seen, yet we never leave our homes. We are the most connected generation, yet we don't have the time to look anyone in the eye. Because what the system wants from us is not physical movement. What the system demands is that we anchor ourselves in front of screens, surrendering all our mental energy to that infinite feed. It is a speed that will never allow us to focus, to deepen our thoughts, or let an idea take root. The dictatorship of speed wasn't established with tanks or weapons. It was built with the vibration of those small, glowing glass screens we carry in our pockets, with the endless chime of notifications. For something to happen instantly is to destroy its very value. That profound meaning created by waiting, by being patient, by taking step after step towards a goal has now evaporated between the pixels. We used to wait weeks for a letter to arrive, and within that waiting we would dream, letting our feelings brew. Now a message answered 2 seconds late creates a massive surge of anger and insecurity within us. We have no tolerance left, because speed has turned us into spoiled yet utterly helpless slaves. And what about geography? Those massive mountains, vast oceans, diverse climates and cultures. How did speed kill all these mesmerizing distances? Why did the fact that the other side of the world is now as close as the screen in our pockets condemn us to a universal blindness? The world was once a colossal place. There were blank spaces at the edges of maps, unknowns beyond the oceans. To discover what lay behind a mountain meant undertaking a journey that took months. It meant sweating, tiring, and daring to be changed. Humanity matured simply by being on the road. The distance between was just as valuable as reaching the destination, because distance taught us that differences, depth, and uniqueness existed. And now, we are the witnesses of an era that has assassinated distances. Projecting our voice from one continent to another takes nothing more than pressing a button. The smoke from a bomb detonated on the other side of the globe reaches the screens in our pockets before it even disperses into the sky. We can witness a disaster, a tragedy, or a victory instantly, quite literally in seconds. Geography has been eradicated. Everywhere has become here. This might sound like a beautiful fairy tale. We united the world, we tore down the borders, they tell us. But the death of distances didn't bring that grand embrace we hoped for. On the contrary, this massive congestion where everything happens instantly has trapped us in a giant panic room. The horizon line has vanished. That mesmerizing vastness of the world has been shattered into pixels and imprisoned inside a small dark rectangle in our pockets. If there is no distance, there is no journey. Close your eyes and think of those 2 seconds you wait just staring at a loading icon. Those 2 seconds are the absolute limit of modern human tolerance, because that space in between, the state of traveling, has been destroyed. There is only a beginning and an instant result. No process, no brewing, no feeling. This absolute proximity is in fact the most terrifying blindness, because to be able to see everything instantly is to truly look at nothing. We sip our coffee while watching footage of a war on the other side of the planet. We lightly swipe our finger, and in the very next second, we laugh at a funny video. A tragedy, an advertisement, a political fight, and a fashion trend, they all collapse onto us on the exact same screen in the exact same second with the exact same worthlessness. The speed is so violent we have no time left to grieve nor to rejoice. Our emotions are crushed within the velocity. Before we can truly experience one, the next one crashes into our minds. Waiting rooms, massive airport terminals, subway stations. Look around you. You will see hundreds of bodies sitting side by side in those crowded halls, yet their faces are invisible. Each of them head bowed, locked onto those little glowing windows. They do not hear the breathing of the person sitting right next to them, because even though they are physically present in that room, their minds are being hurled to entirely different places at thousands of miles an hour. One wanders through a digital storefront, another stares at a photo of an acquaintance across the globe, and another is simply lost in the infinite loop the algorithm feeds them. We no longer live in the places we physically occupy. The dictatorship of speed has shattered the soul of places. A coffee shop, a street corner, or a park, none of them hold an independent meaning anymore. They have merely become meaningless backdrops where we pause until we jump to the next connection. We have lost the weight of being here. At every moment we burn with the desire to be somewhere else, and this desire condemns us to an endless state of dissatisfaction. Because when you reach everywhere at the exact same time, you have arrived nowhere. The world has shrunk. We are trapped. In a world where everyone is so close to one another, loneliness has never been so suffocating. Inside those invisible walls, inside those massive data cables, our souls cannot breathe. And the true tragedy hasn't even begun yet. Because the true victim of speed isn't places. The true victim of speed is our ability to think. How long does it take for an idea to fall into our minds like a seed, find its soil, take root, and grow? Thinking, by its very nature, is a slow, heavy act. It requires slowness. It requires silence. It demands embracing doubt, contradicting oneself, stopping and turning back, daring to walk in the dark. A true idea is not a neon sign that flashes instantly. It is a temple built slowly, layer by layer. But today, Under the dictatorship of speed, there is no room for thinking. Because the screens in front of us, those massive data highways, do not demand us to think, they only demand us to react. Dozens of images, sentences, disaster news, entertainment videos, ads, and opinions flash before your eyes every second. Every time you swipe the screen with your thumb, a new world crashes into your mind. And the system expects you to make a decision within those 2 seconds. Like it, get angry, laugh it off, swipe, judge, pick a side, and immediately move on to the next. This is not communication. This is not philosophy, nor is this the sharing of knowledge. This is a relentless bombardment of our nervous system. Our mind has turned into an exhausted night watchman, running around in a panic amidst constantly ringing fire alarms, not knowing what to do. Contemplation has died, and reflex has taken its place. Here lies that invisible, most ruthless violence of speed. What makes us foolish isn't the lack of information, it is the fact that information is violently vomited onto us at an indigestible pace. The time required to understand a matter, to walk around it, to view it from different angles, has been stolen from us. Today, no one has the patience to read a sentence twice. No one has the courage to stay silent and say, "Let me think about this," because the system instantly swallows whoever pauses. The agenda changes, the hashtags change, the debates change. You fell behind, they tell you, you're late, when all you were trying to do was to remain human, to simply think. This is exactly how the suicide of thought occurred. People no longer produce ideas, they merely approve and share pre-packaged thoughts in a fraction of a second. We do not offer arguments to one another, we throw digital stones at each other. Inside our own echo chambers, we only hear those who get angry as quickly as we do, because to truly understand someone requires slowing down, and we are terrified to death of slowing down. This speed is destroying our memory too. An injustice for which we would burn the world down yesterday is crushed and forgotten under a breaking news alert. That feeling of infinite scrolling provided by algorithms is actually a massive amnesia, a global memory loss. We are the eternal nows, with no past and no future, imprisoned solely by the current light of the screen. Grains of sand no longer fall through the hourglass. Digital codes, bits, and pixels pour down like a flood. And as we are swept away in that flood, we are forced to constantly thrash around just to keep from drowning. But what if we choose to stand still in that flood? What if we stop swimming and firmly plant our feet on that muddy but solid ground? Isn't the moment the system fears us most the exact moment we stop moving? But what if we simply stop? Amidst this massive machine, this endless flow and that fake momentum, what if we choose to just stay exactly where we are? Since we were little, we were taught that falling behind, that slowing down was a weakness, a failure. Yet today, in this dystopia where everything must be consumed and exhausted instantly, slowing down is not a weakness. Slowing down is the most radical resistance. Fighting against the speed of the system doesn't mean destroying those massive data centers or smashing the glass screens in our pockets, because breaking the machine will not cure the disease of rushing inside the mind. The true revolution does not begin on the outside, it begins on the inside. We must reclaim the empty spaces of our own minds, that slow, heavy rhythm of our own time, our stolen right to contemplation. You don't have to reply to a message instantly. You don't have to learn about every new disaster, every new argument in the world that very second, pick a side or react. Your mind is not the dumping ground of the world.
for a moment, put down that constantly vibrating device. Close your eyes. Focus on the speed of your own breath. Realize that the air filling your lungs cannot be measured in seconds or pixels. Feel the weight of your body on that chair. When your mind pulls back from that endless data highway, you will see just how vast, how rich a space the silence around you truly is. We must rediscover the beauty of waiting. We must allow an idea to stay in the dark like a seed, to be nourished by doubt and to grow its own roots. Because true thinking is not providing an immediate answer. It is being able to remain within that silence until you find the right question. It is, when you read a sentence, not immediately moving on to the next, but staring at the horizon and listening to that sentence echo within you. Distance was never our enemy. Distance was the very condition of existence. By shutting down that technological velocity, we must once again place a distance between ourselves and the world. Only then can we truly look at someone, truly see a landscape, truly experience a feeling. We, the exhausted children of this era, we no longer have to rush to get anywhere, because that fake destination we were racing towards was nothing but a mirage. The dictatorship of speed survives solely on our effort to keep up with it. If we abandon that relentless sprint and retreat to the slow, deep, and unshakable fortress of our own minds, that is when the bars of that invisible cage begin to melt. The thing the system fears most is not your anger or your rebellion. The thing the system fears most is that exact moment when you stand still in front of a screen in deep silence, left alone entirely with your own thoughts.